Let's talk VAR, which is a familiar theme on this programme, as it is on many. But Forest deserved a penalty. Howard Webb says Premier League referees could address the crowd after VAR interventions. It was the big other line coming out of the FA. This is the back page of the Times with this one. What did you make of Howard Webb's candour in the appearance today?
I thought Forest should have had 2 penalties. I mean, it was injudicious, the tweet that the club came out with afterwards. But you could, in terms of the wording of it and the insinuation that the Stuart Atwell, the VAR, might have been influenced by the fact that he or members of his family are Luton Town fans, and obviously Forest are in a relegation battle with Luton Town. I just thought that was nonsense, and it actually sort of undermined the sympathy that they definitely had. I actually thought there were 2 penalties in that. I thought Young's earlier foul, I thought that was a penalty, but in this one, Young and Hudson-Odoi, I mean, a referee of Anthony Taylor's calibre, who's going to the Euros, I mean, he really should have picked up on that. I think Howard Webb is a very down-to-earth individual. I spoke to him last week or the week before, and he wants the best for the game. He genuinely cares. But what Stockley Park and what Howard Webb and PGMOL have to realise is that the game doesn't belong to them. The game doesn't belong to school teachers marking their own homework at the Stockley Park School for sort of micro-refereeing, or whatever you want to call it. It belongs to the people in the stadium, whether the players, whether the managers, whether the fans, and they deserve proper communication. And I think that was actually the most encouraging thing that Howard Webb actually alluded to tonight, was that there would be more explanation to the fans in the stadium. Because we remember in COVID, all those games in lockdown, games behind closed doors when there were no fans, when football came out of that, they said, we've got to treat fans properly. They're not treating fans properly. Changes in kickoff times, the difficulties, the hikes in season tickets. But VAR, they can address. You can communicate with the fans in the ground. And Howard Webb and the English FA and PGMO have to stand up to IFAB, who are the sort of, the law makers effectively, and say, we want to do this on our ground because fans deserve to have the decisions communicated to. In more grown-up sports, like rugby and cricket, they do it. So why not do it in football? Because the fans deserve it, the players deserve it, and the managers deserve it. So look, I'm behind VAR. I was in Paris in 2009 with the Thierry Henry handball, the double handball, which fed William Gallas, and the French went through ahead of the Irish. So VAR is here to stay, but it's got to be used properly. There's got to be more transparency, and there's got to be better communication for a start.
David, what's your thoughts on referees communicating with fans around decisions? Or do you think the bigger issue is that there'll always be erroneous decisions ultimately with what we've seen from listening into the VAR decision process?
Yeah, there's always going to be errors, Teddy, and Howard Webb made a pointed remark tonight on that, saying, it's a human sport, and there will be human errors for players, for officials too. Even when we move on to semi-automated offsides, which is going to hopefully improve the offside situation, there's still scope for human error there. The communication is vital, but even that's not going to be perfect. There have been teething problems around that. I think in the women's game, crowd noise overshadowing the sort of process. I don't think it's going to be easy for referees to explain their decisions to an entire stadium that's sort of more than half of the fans baying for them, and it's difficult. We saw the most notable incident, I would say, this season at Tottenham against Liverpool, and that was shambolic, and it just seems that we're experiencing apology after apology, and letters being written to and from clubs between the PGMOL. The standard of officiating is not good enough. The programme is good, mic'd up, but it's an awkward feeling that we're forever just going over problems with the system. And days after, this is 10 days after the Everton Forest game. It doesn't really matter now. And the concession that the error was made at the time, there was silence in the immediate aftermath. So it's not a satisfactory situation. But Howard Webb is working hard, clearly, to improve it. And some form of communication, it seems, will be improved next season. One bit that won't is live communication between the VAR and match officials, which many of us want as fans, but IFAB are dead against it. So trying to move in a better direction, but it's going to take time, and I don't think anyone's going to be particularly happy with the solutions going forward.